City Chiefs have selected George Karlaftis. Big George! There we go!
I am so beyond excited that Josh Simmons getting a crack at left tackle.
It's really hard to win the AFC Championship.
Is it?
Welcome back to another edition of the KC Laboratory. I am not Kent Swanson, but I am very happy to be joined by my two wonderful friends on this awesome Matter Day, a Matter Day of epic proportions, the best Matter Day that quite possibly has ever existed. I am here, as always, with Matt Hamilton, but also a special Matt this week, Matt Stout. We're going to start with Hammy. How are you doing today, bud?
I'm good. I'm happy to be here. I have not had the pleasure of working with Matt Stout before, so I'm very excited for this show. Obviously, we always miss Kent, but very excited to get to work with Craig. I mean Matt.
No, we don't have to pretend, Hammy. He's not gonna listen to it. He's just not. So we don't have to pretend. No, I'm very excited to be doing this with Hammy. Very excited to be here on a Matter Day. I fully embrace the Matt name attached right here. I am not Kent. I am not trying to dodge this. Today is Matter Day. And Maddie, we've got a lot to get to today because a lot of things have happened in the Kansas City Chiefs realm on this particular day.
Yeah, there is. I don't even got to really, beat around the bush and talk about the college football playoff, the championship happening right now, because we have had actual Chiefs news. So we kind of get a jump straight into this. There's a lot of Mattness happening. I'm looking at the chat, all of the Matts. The problem is the Chiefs are down one Matt, as Matt Nagy is officially no longer in as the Chiefs offensive coordinator. His contract has expired. It seems like he is likely on his way to a head coaching job at the Tennessee Titans. We'll see how that unfolds. But in his place, the Chiefs have wasted absolutely zero time, no time whatsoever, in bringing in new offensive coordinator Eric Bieniemy. He returns to the team after the Chicago Bears' unfortunate playoff loss there in overtime just the night before. Eric Bieniemy is back in Kansas City as your offensive coordinator going forward after his stint here that ended after the 2022 Super Bowl. There is so many different ways to go. I know, Craig, you talked about this a little bit earlier today on the Breaking News Team pod with Tucker and a host of other people coming in and out of there. So I'm going to ask Hamilton, what was your kind of initial reaction here when you saw that the Chiefs were hiring back Eric Bieniemy?
And I think, we've discussed over the past couple of weeks our kind of wish list for offensive coordinator and somebody who's going to bring some new ideas. And I know there's been some apprehension, amongst us and within Chiefs Kingdom about just bringing in somebody from the family, right? Bringing back somebody from the Chiefs family, from the Andy Reid tree. But I got to say, if you're going to bring back somebody, this is the right move. We know the offensive coordinator for the Chiefs is not going to be calling the plays. It's Andy Reid.
Mm-hmm.
What Bieniemy is bringing is, what he's been known for his entire career, which is accountability, which is that tough love. He has the respect of his players. He is an enforcer amongst the coaching staff, which seems like, again, we don't know. We're not in the room. It seems like something that might have been missing over these past couple of years, that level of accountability. And he's also bringing, we talk about bringing new ideas. I know this is a name that can be triggering for Maddie, but he did just get to spend a year with Ben Johnson. So I'm sure there are things that he learned and picked up from that experience that can translate here. So, again, if you're going to go back into the Andy Reid well, this was the move to make. And I got to say, I do think it brings something. I do like this. There might have been other names that were more exciting. I think there were some of the names that were on our wish list that are looking like right now they're about to become head coaches. So, when you factor that into the equation as well, I do think this makes the Chiefs a better football team in 2026 than they were in 2025. And that's the goal here.
Yeah, it is. And if you want to listen to my takes, please go tune into the Breaking News pod. I kind of went into everything that I feel like there. But for those who don't have time, the abridged version is I wanted somebody that was going to bring new concepts into the building. I do not think that this is it. Even with a year with Ben Johnson, I really don't think that we're going to see many new concepts that will be brought to the table specifically from this OC hire. We'll get into some other stuff here in a little bit here. But yes, everything that Hammy said, the accountability. I even called him, I said, Chiefs have a new accountability buddy, because that's going to be the word of the offseason here. You know, we're just going to have this guy that's doing that. I want to be clear here. Eric Bieniemy is an asshole. Like, he really is. Anybody who's been to Chiefs training camp has seen him and the way that he interacts with players. It is loud. It is brash. It is a demand of excellence that is there. That's what you're getting here. That might be all you're getting as a part of this. Maybe you get a little bit of extra run game. Maybe you get a little bit of extra, you know, concepts that maybe he picked up something here or there. Your running back plays a little bit better. But what you are buying into here is quite simply making sure that you execute at a significantly higher level than you have seen the Chiefs do over the last 2 years. And frankly, having watched this football team fail to execute over the last 2 years, even if they just run the same offense and they take it up a couple of notches on the execution chart, yeah, it's going to look better. Is it going to look as good as we hoped when we were looking at potentially an outside hire and new concepts and maybe buying into some of the things that are working more regularly in the NFL? Maybe not. But what we will probably see is an improvement over what we already know Andy Reid is going to run, even with a new hire, new concept. He's going to run his stuff. So this is a way to try and get that stuff to work a little bit better, which isn't the first choice, but it's an okay fallback. Okay, I talked way too long there, Maddie. I want you to cook here because I know how you feel, but I want to hear it right now.
This is what an episode to not have Kent trying to rein me in on this. I will say it lucked out that the news happened in the morning and this didn't happen like right before we had to do this show, because I don't know how we would have got it in under 60 minutes as I tried to process my way through this, because I'm not a fan of the hire. I think a lot of people in Chiefs media has kind of come around a little bit to like kind of like what Craig said, maybe not his first choice, but he's kind of okay with it. Like, it kind of makes sense. He can see where it works. Yeah. I'm still fighting uphill to get to that. I mean, I just don't think it's a particularly great hire. I think it is the laziest, most path of least resistance hire they could have possibly made, was going back, interviewing not a single other soul, and hiring somebody that they knew already and having it done for weeks. I think that is the laziest path you possibly could go to solving the offensive coordinator issue. I don't need a new offensive system. I don't need a new play caller. I just want somebody to come in and say, hey, maybe we don't run mesh on 3rd and 8 versus man coverage. Somebody to come in with a different idea. And guess what? I watched Eric Bieniemy's offense in Washington. I watched it at UCLA. I don't think he's going to come in with a different idea than mesh on 3rd and 8 to beat man coverage. I don't think it's going to happen. There's no guarantee that whoever they brought in was going to have like that Andy was going to listen and for sure do what they say, but at least you'd be trying, right? Like, we have years in Kansas City, a couple of stints outside of Kansas City to say that I don't know if Bieniemy's that guy. So like, for me, from that aspect as offensive coordinator, it doesn't feel like they exercised any of the other possibilities. They went straight to what they know. They fell right back into their comfort zone. And it's Andy Reid saying, my system isn't a problem, guys. It's all you players. It's you guys, not me. It's the players, or Matt Nagy, who apparently can't tell people to do their job, I guess. But like that, it just feels like the blame was entirely, my system is not the issue at all. Let's get more of my guys in so we can run my system, but now we can maybe keep you on a tighter leash for it. It's like this, that is like the 100-foot view on where I come away with it. Is just, it was a really weird and lazy process to get to hiring him. And I really don't see how it addresses the main issue that nobody in week 10 was saying we need to be more accountable. No, everybody was asking for new concepts, new schemes to do new stuff. Like, nobody wanted to care about the word accountable in the middle of the season. So why is that all of a sudden the thing we're going to lead off the baseball card with for the new offensive coordinator?
Yeah, and that is all totally fair. And again, this is stuff we talked about for weeks. I think in the back of my head, like, for all the things that we wanted, the outside idea, I think we all, like, I don't know, at least for me, kind of in the back of the head, I knew, in the back of my head, I knew something was happening like this,
Yeah.
and of those options, I think this was the best one. I think being upset with the process is totally justified. To not even speak to people outside of the tree is frustrating. Like, I totally feel your frustration. As I said, I do think that this makes them better in ways. I do,
Probably.
and I do think that accountability is important. Sorry to use the buzzword again, but
Hammy, we're going to use it 43 million times this offseason.
But there's nothing, like, again, you're right. Watching his offenses, there was nothing inspiring. And I know this is just going to trigger you even more because it's Ben Johnson. But, like, you don't think there's anything maybe that he's bringing new from that experience?
No, and so I didn't want to go to that. Jokingly, but also semi-seriously, Ben Johnson irks me because I think he got way more credit for running offensive tackle reverses. But what he has done with Chicago this year, specifically on the ground, has been a phenomenal system. Like, the run game in Chicago has been absolutely great. And Eric Bieniemy spending a year there is awesome. And him coming in and the fact that he can maybe bring over some of those general ideas to Kansas City is definitely a bonus. Do I maybe have reservations that Eric Bieniemy, with 1 year under Ben Johnson, who is a control freak head coach who designed the run game, do I maybe think that Eric Bieniemy has the perfect understanding of why it works or all the adjustments? I don't know. I watched him struggle to run Andy Reid's pass game after like 8 years in Kansas City. So do I think he's got Ben Johnson's run game down to a T? Maybe not, but it surely has to be better than whatever they were doing last year, right? Like, he absolutely has to come back with better ideas, better. When I say plays, I just mean play designs. I don't mean the calling of the plays, but better play designs for how to run the football than what they had last year. So it definitely is an improvement. And if there was any chance that this was a running back coach or run game coordinator, this would be an A+ hire. It's the fact that this is your offensive coordinator. This is your number 2 man when you go into now. It's all Andy. I want to be very clear. It's all Andy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But this is still your number 2 man. This is if Andy says, hey guys, what's my best way to beat this coverage? Everyone in that room is going to chime in at the exact same time on the count of 2 with the same answer because they all learned it from Andy Reid. Nobody has a new idea because they all learned it from Andy Reid.
I mean, like, we'll get to maybe another guy that can contribute there. Yeah. But I do want to be very clear here, Matt. Anybody who just went and got a cup of coffee for a year with Ben Johnson would not be walking out of that building with I understand exactly how to run this scheme, because if they did, everybody would do it and then immediately go get a head coaching job. That's not necessarily an indictment on Eric Bieniemy there. That is more an indictment on the fact that 1 year is not enough to understand some of the why, especially when Ben, like you said, is a control freak. Everything is here.
It's as
close
it's
to
Ben
the
Johnson. Yeah.
Correct.
It's not a collab effort. And I don't mean to say Bieniemy did nothing, but it's not a collab. Yeah. That's like saying Greg Lewis, when he left Kansas City, could have gone and run Andy Reid's pass game. Like, no, it doesn't work that way, right? Like, that's not how it works. So 1 year doesn't do that. But I do think that experience with the Chicago Bears is going to be helpful. I like that coming back. I like that you can maybe go, okay, hey, Eric Bieniemy's coming back. He is at very bare minimum going to demand guys execute better, and he's going to do it in a way that some players in the team might respond better to than the way that has been happening the last few years. I don't want to speak in absolutes because there's a lot of turnover, but clearly players on this team responded better to him telling them to not hold was better than Matt Nagy asking them to not hold or whatever. They're players. They're professionals. They can figure it out without being yelled at. I don't know. But I think he can do that. And he will be a better running backs coach or helping in that room. So you should get better running back play, especially if the talent goes up. I just do have small reservations that Eric Bieniemy does not help the pass game whatsoever. And I think Andy is defaulting to the run game is the only issue, which takes the onus off of his scheme and his baby being part of the issue. And that is, I think, what frustrates me more than anything else is this is Andy passing the blame to anything that doesn't have to do with him. And then his answer is his guy that he groomed and created.
Again, I think that is totally fair. And you did touch on there. The other part of this that I like is I think that we will see improvement in the run game. Like, we have seen Eric Bieniemy get the best, obviously, out of great running backs. We've seen him get the best out of not so great running backs too. And I think this is the huge difference maker there, because I don't want to just dump all over Todd Pinkston right now, but the idea of having like the frailest wide receiver in NFL history coaching running backs for an NFL football is beyond me why they thought that would be a good idea. But having Eric Bieniemy back in there, and it's cool. I do want to, like, this was obviously him from a while ago, but I have a feeling he is very much still the same person. But like back when I used to work at NFL Films, we used to get like the raw feeds of when players were mic'd up.
Oh,
And I got to see a lot of stuff that didn't get released to the public. And I won't go into the details fully there, but there was a game with Jamal Charles mic'd up, and just listening to Bieniemy coaching him throughout that game. And I think Jamal especially like needed somebody kind of like that with his personality and the way he's wired a little. And I got it. Like, it was awesome to listen to. Like, the guy, you know, he has a way with players. He is, as Craig put it, like, but in a positive way, he's an asshole. And it is, you know, there is something to it. I don't think you have a lot of coaching is changing. Not to say that everybody has to be an asshole, but like it's a tough line to walk being an asshole that the players respect and like. And I think he knows how to do that. And I do think there's something to that.
Yeah, no, there's definitely. I mean, not only does Andy love him, you know, I went through that last week when I started deep diving into why this may not be Eric Bieniemy as a hire, and I came up with nothing. So hey, go figure. But the players love it. I mean, they brought him back multiple postseasons to go and speak to the team, and every man that heard that walked out of there going, "Yeah, that was good. I'm glad he came back. That provided us a real jolt of energy," which then begs the question, Matt Nagy, what would you say you did here? Like, I mean, I'm curious now, because it was the same West Coast offense. It was the same stuff that we've seen. Andy's warm, fuzzy blanket that he wrapped himself in and all of this, and it was run poorly, and there were no new ideas that were brought in, and it was executed poorly. I mean, like, what would you say you did here? And as he's about to get a head coaching job, then he'll go and let me know what he's going to do there. But I don't know. We're walking out of this saying, the Chiefs are saying accountability is the thing we need. The better execution is the thing we need. A better run game. It certainly will be a brand new backfield. I just find it hard to believe that Eric Bieniemy is going to look at this group and say, "Oh, those are my guys. Let's load this up and do this all over again." No, I think there's going to be a lot of changes in the background, or the running back room. I think the run game is going to be run better. I think the offense is going to be run a little bit better. And again, that may be what this team needs to now not go, you know, so terribly in one score games, just, you know, completely getting blanked in one score games and just kind of shrugging and going, well, we're trying again, as I mentioned earlier on the breaking news pod. Travis Kelce said, "Yeah, we just kept waiting for the switch to flip in December, and it just didn't happen this year." It's like, guys, that seems complacent. That seems like a group of guys that are just like, well, eventually it's going to happen, right? Instead of willing it to happen through something else. So yes, this isn't the hire I want. Yes, I don't think that this is going to now all of a sudden be this new and exciting offense that's going to bring a lot to the table here. But I do think the offense that we are going to see, and yes, that means mesh over and over again on 3rd and 8, may work just a little bit better than we've seen before. And that little bit may be the difference, because the Chiefs have lived in the margins for the better part of 3-4 years now. And frankly, they've got a bunch of Super Bowls of that. If they can get back to getting on the positive side of the margin to get that may be what they need. Again, trying to look at it purely from a positive spin here.
Yeah, and if their run game is even passable, the run game hasn't been. It's been the worst run game in the NFL for 2 years now. Easily. It's going to help the passing game. It's going to help the offense as a whole. I'm with you, Matt. You want to see more creativity. You want to see more of that. But again, even if it just takes this run game to a point where it's average, it's a huge improvement in this offense.
Yeah. Hey, listen, I got another thread to unravel about the positivity about this EB hire, but we're going to do that right after a quick break.
I'm BJ Kissel, founder and CEO of KC Sports Network. Emprise Bank has been with us from the beginning. They were our first network partner, and they believed in the vision of what we were building from the start. I can't speak to any other banks or companies and how they operate, but I can tell you from personal experience and based on the growth of the network you're listening to right now, that if you have banking needs, call our friends at Emprise Bank. We've worked with so many great people there over the years, from Vicky and Aggie to Andrea, Lori, Jackie, Deb, and Aaron, and not to mention so many others that not just supported KC Sports Network, but supported our KCSN Foundation as well. But the best thing that I know is that if I have a question or a problem, no matter how dumb the question is, I know who I'm going to call and who I'm going to talk to, and I know that I'm getting an answer from someone that I can trust, and I know that person is there to help us. That's why Emprise Bank has always been and continues to be our partner in Possible, and they can be yours too. You just have to reach out. If you have a banking need, whether it's business or personal, hit me up. I will connect you directly with the same people that have helped us build KCSN. And that's our friends at Emprise Bank.
Hey, what's happening, people? It is Benny Heiss, KCSN betting analyst. And while the Chiefs may not be in the playoffs, that doesn't mean there is not plenty of action to go around for the rest of you that are still crazy fans of the National Football League. And with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, it makes every playoff moment feel bigger. So whether you're looking at individual matchups in the wild card, or for a possible Super Bowl matchup, or for futures come postseason time, DraftKings has your back, and they also have your back with early exit protection. If the player in your eligible NFL prop goes down at any point in the first half, guess what? You can still get paid in cash. What an opportunity. What a way to be able to enjoy the playoffs and not worry about anybody that you include in those props going down, especially early on, and ruining the rest of all of your legs. So here's what you do. You download the DraftKings Sportsbook app, use the code KCSN, that is code KCSN, to turn $5 into $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Remember, if you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. New York, call 8778-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. Connecticut, call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino in Kansas, wager tax pass-through may apply in Illinois. You must be 21 plus in most states. Void in Ontario. Restrictions apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets which expire in 7 days. Minimum odds required. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. Limited time offer.
Welcome back to the KCSN Laboratory. We are here discussing Eric Bieniemy, the new Chiefs offensive coordinator. And yeah, we're going to stick to this. There's no reason to fly through this rundown because Kent's not here. We can do it however we want. And I got a lot more I got to say about it. I purposely stayed off of our breaking news team because I knew we were doing this show tonight, and I didn't want to burn through all of my stuff here. So I do have another positive thread I want to pull out, as I alluded to pre-break. But I want to get there in a second because I got a couple of my other gripes to get through here before we do this. I do have a couple of gripes. How many other teams would even consider Eric Bieniemy for offensive coordinator?
Oh, probably zero. Yeah, zero.
So like right there, we can just, I think you can stop at that. But that makes it immediately. I think that gives you a position to be upset if you're a Chiefs fan. Not a single other team would even consider him. Now, you can say it's the best spot for him. He has an offensive coordinator as a head coach in Andy Reid. He gets along with them, all this stuff. I understand why this fits better than others, but 31 other teams would pass on him as offensive coordinator. That's tough. Yeah. That's a tough sell for me.
But also, how many top offensive coordinators are going to the Chiefs knowing they don't get to call play?
Zero.
Zero. That's a pickle, right? And like, I think that's the next thing you have to get to is we ranked the offensive coordinator job openings that were available. I put the Chiefs at 3, and I contemplated 4. I contemplated only putting them ahead of the Eagles because Sirianni. But I said they're one of the worst offensive coordinating jobs because you don't get any autonomy. You just have to live in Andy Reid's system. So I understand the challenges they're facing. I get it from that perspective. I just said, that was one of my other complaints. It's like, hey, nobody else is going to hire him. Like, is that really the guy that you have to race to get to? I don't know. The run game.
I do want to say real quick, just to pull on that thread. Are we sure there are not 30 teams because the Lions hired Drew Petzing today? Are we sure that they wouldn't have been a consideration?
They didn't like the cut of Mike.
He was friends with Ben Johnson.
He was friends with Ben Johnson. So was Eric Bieniemy. Yeah. He had a cup of coffee with him. I mean, just saying.
But he wasn't a groomsman at his wedding though.
Didn't know him early enough. Clearly, that was the problem.
Yeah.
No, so yeah, it's just like, yeah, it's a tough, it's a tough spot to be in when I think there's multiple good offensive minds. Maybe none of them wanted to be in Kansas City. You don't know because you didn't ask.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it's
and
just-
that's the thing where that is, I think, the biggest gripe you can is you should leave no stone unturned here, and they clearly didn't turn over any stones. So yeah,
They turned over one stone. It was in Chicago.
I do want to go, I think, a little bit to a positive route on this and how I could see this working. And I hope this is the way it goes. I don't necessarily have high hopes for it, but we talked a lot about the accountability aspect, drink yet again. We talked about how Eric Bieniemy is good at getting guys to care, paying it. And accountability doesn't just mean listening to what you're supposed to do, but there's an element of the details of the game, constantly being on your P's and your Q's, knowing the right spot, knowing there's more to it than the joking about doing the right thing. But if this team brings him in and they get somebody that's a little bit more detail oriented that gets players to follow, that's cool. On top of it, if Andy Reid really does know the pass game needs to change, which I do think he's smart enough to know that, I just don't know if he thinks his scheme is an issue yet. I think he's smart enough to change if he thinks his scheme is the issue. Judging by what he says and his actions currently, I don't know if he thinks that, but we'll see once the season starts. If they want to change, though, the change can definitely start with Andy Reid rather than a new outside voice coming in. That is entirely possible. Sure. So let's say Andy Reid understands that, and he does want to incorporate new stuff into this offense. He does want to make it look a little bit more modern. Not a bad idea to go get a guy that's got a running background, who just spent a year with Ben Johnson, who's very much centered in the run game. Even if you don't bring over even 25% of that run scheme, you are coming from a place that was centered in the run game with a quarterback that shares some similarities to Patrick Mahomes and his play style and stuff. So you can see a pathway that Andy Reid can be the spearhead of the offensive passing game change if he realizes it, and that Eric Bieniemy would be a good person to have along with you, getting people in line, making them follow along and everything. My question to you guys is, do you think we see that? Do you think that Andy is ready to alter the pass game as well, or do you think this is more of emphasizing the run game this year?
I think this is more of emphasizing the run game this year. Personally, at this stage of Andy's career, with what we've seen in the past, again, you're right, anything can happen. I do think this is more about the run game, and I know we're going to get to Chad O'Shea in a little bit too, but I that's an area where I like where they did reach outside the organization. That's interesting. I know, but we'll stick with
tangential. Yeah.
Tangential, but yeah. Sorry, I'll let Craig answer the question first before we get into that. Yeah.
I mean, no, I think it's going to be
Stout. Sorry.
Yeah, thank you, Matt Hamilton. God, it feels good. I've been called Craig my entire life. I might try this Matt thing on.
It's pretty sweet.
Name change for him. It is pretty sweet. Not gonna lie. No, I think it's going to be run game. I agree with you, Hammy. I think it is largely going to be run game. I think it is largely going to be a lot of the same things, which, again, I think would have been the same. Listen, if Mike McDaniel's here, first of all, he's not coming here to Kansas City unless he's getting to run his offense. But let's say by some miracle he shows up. Do we think that Andy Reid is saying, okay, I have curated this binder of things that I'm in love with and that has won me 3 Super Bowls here in Kansas City. I'm going to throw this out the window, and Mike, the offense is yours. Let's just go ahead and change everything. No, he's not. He's definitely not. The hope was you bring in somebody that is going to alter some of that binder, that is going to add a little bit to that binder, which, again, I don't believe Eric Bieniemy is going to do. So, no, I don't think that the passing concepts are going to change greatly because of the Bieniemy hire specifically. So, when we're ready to talk about Chris O'Shea, I may have a couple more comments about that, though. Yeah.
We're there. I saw a comment in here that I did want to go through real quick, and we can try to do this as fast as we possibly can. How many NFL teams would take Andy Reid as their head coach and Bieniemy as their offensive coordinator? The guess was 30. I don't think it's 30. So I want to do this.
30.
I don't think it's 30. Los Angeles Rams, would they take Andy Reid and Eric Bieniemy over McVay and who's the Mike LaFleur's there right now?
Yeah.
Would the 49ers with Kyle Shanahan and whatever Kubiak?
No.
Would the Seahawks and I gotta get these names,
No.
Mike McDonald
No.
and the other Kubiak.
No.
Right, so we already
McDonald
got
and a
three.
Kubiak, yeah.
Okay, go to the other side. Patriots, would they trade Vrabel and Mike McDaniel or Josh McDaniels for
No.
Andy Reid and Eric Bieniemy? I think so,
No.
right? Who are they playing? I don't think the Broncos would trade Sean Payton for Andy Reid right now.
Probably
No.
not. That
Should
one
they?
is the first one. Yeah, that's the first one that I have to think about a little bit. The other ones are all automatic no's. Yeah.
Right. I just kind of ripping off some off the top of my head. Who else just lost most recently? Are
The
Bears?
Jags and Liam Cohen.
Oh, okay, there's a good one.
No.
Oh yeah, let's do
They're
the
gonna
Jags.
stick with
For the
Cohen.
Jags,
I mean,
Yeah.
I think it's.
Yeah.
I think they stick with Cohen.
no.
Yeah.
Now, if you wanted to tell me 20, yeah, I might agree with 20.
Yeah,
Yeah.
30,
I think we get about half the league. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think you can get to
easily.
about half, maybe a little bit
Yeah.
more of half the league. But yeah, I think
Yeah.
there's a lot of teams out there who are pretty happy with their head coaching head coach offensive coordinator combos right now. I do think that, and so
Yeah.
I didn't think it was. I just wanted to go through that quick exercise. Okay, so the Chiefs have also made another move along with hiring new offensive coordinator Eric Bieniemy. They brought in a new wide receivers coach, Chad O'Shea. Is a wide receivers coach coming in from the Cleveland Browns, where he was the wide receiver coach / passing game coordinator under Kevin Stefanski. Before that, he spent a single year as the wide receiver coach or the offensive coordinator of the Miami Dolphins, while Brian Flores was the head coach there. And then before that, he was a longtime wide receiver coach for the New England Patriots, Minnesota Vikings before that. He did have a little bit of crossover with Eric Bieniemy and Brad Childress, who was once upon a time on the Chiefs staff with the Minnesota Vikings. He was also spent like a summer internship or something with the Philadelphia Eagles in 2002. So we didn't stray too far away from the tree, but we at least found a neighboring tree, I do believe. So what do you guys think about the Chiefs' new wide receiver coach coming in?
And he is somebody who, he spent a lot of time outside of that tree, and specifically in New England. I think those are the years that you look at, and he was somebody who I think was, really respected by Tom Brady for everything I'd heard over the years there, and had a lot of success with those wide receivers there, guys that were super talented, guys that were not as talented that they got a lot out of there. And yes, you can debate, Tom Brady's influence on all that, whatever. But this is somebody who is, I think, coming in from an outside perspective that has some new ideas. I'm spending a lot of time under Kevin Stefanski too, who I think we all would agree is a respected offensive mind in this game. And he's a real, I hate to say it this way, and I'm not trying to just disrespect anybody, but like, this is a real receivers coach, not just somebody who played for Andy Reid in the past or, has some connections to it. Like, this is somebody who, has forged his own path and had a ton of success in this league, and is has run an offense of his own before as the passing game coordinator. Like, this is somebody who brings something to the table here. And honestly, like, this is a hire that does excite me. Like, the Bieniemy thing, we can talk into some of the positives of it, whatever. It's not super exciting. Like, this is one that does excite me, especially with how crucial the development of these wide receivers is going to be. This young group of wide receivers. It is. I feel like it's hard to find a better wide receivers, at least from the guys that I know that have experience, that are out there, that you're going to get, that are proven commodities. Like, this is a very good hire.
Yeah, it really is. I was a little bit surprised because, one of the things that came out earlier today is that a couple of Chiefs assistants are assisting with the Senior Bowl. Our guy, Charles Goldman over at A to Z Sports, posted that one of the Chiefs' QB assistants was running the wide receiver room over there. And I think we all, because this has happened with Andy Reid before, immediately jumped to, oh no, here we go again. A guy that's not coached wide receivers before, a guy that's not, and it was something that absolutely was on the table. So Chris O'Shea, by comparison to what they have had and what we thought maybe they were going to do here, is light years better. He has been a wide receivers coach in the NFL for over 20 years. He has ran his own offense, which the passing part of that offense with Ryan Fitzpatrick and not very many weapons on that was not bad. Don't look at the running side. Please, God, don't look at the running stats there. They're awful. But that's why Eric Bieniemy's here. Anyway, but the passing game coordinator under Stefanski, we just got done talking about how, Ben Johnson, Eric Bieniemy having 1 year there, you're just not going to glean a lot from that. He spent 5-6 years under Stefanski. He spent, umpteen years working with Josh McDaniels, working with Brady, working with those wide receivers. You want to talk about a guy that does have some knowledge, does have some concepts that he can bring to the table? Chris O'Shea absolutely does. And so when we're talking about the passing game's not going to change under Eric Bieniemy, a voice in the room that may be able to suggest some things to Andy and say, hey, listen, by the way, maybe this modification on mesh on 3rd and 8 is something that we should implement here. Here's all of the examples of me and my offenses and all the offenses that I've touched have run based on this set of wide receiver talent. You're getting somebody that can sit across from Andy and Andy can actually trust because he's been in the NFL for a long time. He understands how concepts are. He understands how to get the most out of wide receivers. It's not just somebody that got promoted from a quality control coach that hasn't had that experience before that's sitting in the room going, yeah, sure, looks good, coach, which is probably what was happening over the past couple of years here. You're probably going to get a lot more input there. So when we talk about how Eric Bieniemy's not going to be bringing concepts, I look at this Chris O'Shea hire and I say, oh, that's a legitimately good one. I know Browns fans weren't a fan of him, but look at Jerry Jeudy in Denver and then look at him when he got to Cleveland. Yeah, the drops were still there, but he was a significantly better football player in Cleveland under him than he was in Denver. We see him maximizing guys with talent frequently throughout his career. So again, Maddie, I know you've looked at some of the Browns fans' tweets and how people are maybe a little more happy that he's not attached to that football team anymore. But I think there's a little more history there.
Yeah, and when you don't have good quarterback play too, like that.
That doesn't help.
It doesn't help. So,
Yeah. So like I would say I'm excited about the move. I think it's a good hire. I like them going for the most part outside of the Andy kind of Reid vortex of this. I think that is a good idea to bring in somebody else. Like I really do. And the fact that it's been somebody that even though things didn't go great in Cleveland, he is involved with what their pass game was. He has been involved with developing, installing, helping run what this pass game is for multiple seasons now. You hope that he is picking up things, ideas that he then can go in those meetings that we were talking about earlier. Hey guys, I need an idea to beat this coverage that's really been stumping us. He can lob out an idea. Andy sits on it for 24, 48 hours and decides if he wants to incorporate that for the upcoming game or not. Like I love that concept of it. And I like that he's a guy that has experience working with Tom Brady / Josh McDaniels back with the Patriots. And then he went to Stefanski and had seen that approach to modern defense with their offense. Those things, awesome. Love that. I am mildly concerned that every Browns fan that I have come across on social media is ecstatic, not happy, not okay with, is ecstatic that he is no longer on their football team. This has apparently been a guy that they have wanted off their team for a long time. And this ranges from random Bears fans to people that do seem to cover the team. And I'm not going to sit here and speak for how well into it and everything as somebody is, but they seem to be involved with covering the team. So they are paying a lot of attention and everyone seems to be happy that he is gone. Is that a little bit of maybe things are slipping? Or as we just talked about, there's been very little talent for them to work with on this particular team. I can't be mad. When the Chiefs couldn't develop Mecole Hardman, I wasn't tearing down a wide receiver coach for not making Mecole Hardman better at football. I think I owe Chad O'Shea here the same benefit for most of what these Browns receivers has been, especially seeming as the one guy that we know has talent, Jerry Jeudy, did get better when he got there. He was playing better there than he did with the Denver Broncos. He played even better when he had a quarterback that could get him the ball. So I do think that there's a little bit of a benefit of the doubt. I just will say the large portion of Browns fans that I have come across are very happy he's not there. So that does give a little smidgen of of caution as we go into this.
Yeah. No offense to Browns fans. I mean, that thing has been such a dumpster fire. They've been through so much. They're looking to point fingers everywhere they can. I don't know how much I can really put into that. I gotta be honest, because again, for fans and bloggers and people that will cover the team, you don't know exactly what's going on in that room either. And I've heard from enough people who have worked with him and that speak so highly of him, especially from the New England era, that I put more faith in that than, like you hear like Julian Edelman talk about him and, he credits him for becoming the player that he was and all that. Like there are enough examples of that. I put way more stock in that than, respectfully what's being tweeted by Browns fans who have a lot of scar tissue they're dealing with there. So yeah, but again, yeah, it is, it's definitely something that perks your ears up when you see that many people vehemently against this guy.
Yeah.
I think it was funny. Back to back, I saw LaShawn McCoy say that that Bieniemy was going to be the Chiefs OC because Andy Reid's getting too old to call the plays and yell at people, so he needs someone to do that. Essentially, right? He was saying someone's going to keep them in line because Andy's. So, no, I know McCoy's issues. I understand that. It's just funny. I'm not saying this is a negative. I think it was funny to see that, and then to read the story about how Julian Edelman went on a podcast and talked about how him and O'Shea used to get into arguments and near fist fights frequently because he couldn't yell at Tom Brady and he couldn't yell at Bill Belichick, so he had to yell at O'Shea. That's all I was going to is like, it's just funny that we have two different, like, hey, yell at this coach instead of Andy guys with random stories being connected. It's funny, not a bad thing.
I mean, not to bring it all the way back to EB here, but also you guys remember how terrible Shady was with ball protection, and Eric Bieniemy benched his ass. That's why Shady hates every move that the Chiefs are ever going to do here. Like he hates the fact that he was held accountable. And listen, O'Shea's been in the room with guys like that demand that level of excellence as well. So there is a through line here. There is a theme of both of these hires 100%. And one guy, Eric Bieniemy, is going to bring a lot of run concepts to the game. We're going to see a lot more excellence in the run game. Chris O'Shea is going to also be able to bring some passing concepts, functional wide receiver play. Oh my goodness, that would be wonderful to watch some of these young receivers take another step here. There are a lot of reasons to be excited about the combination of this. Like I get the trepidations, I get all of that, but I think when the O'Shea hire also hit at the same time, I definitely softened a little bit more on the Bieniemy thing because I went, oh, that's an outside guy. That's a passing game coordinator. That's multiple different concepts that he's bringing into the equation here. I feel like I can see the path. I know that some of this is cope and some of that, but I can see the path towards this being something that looks a little bit different and certainly looks better than it did last year.
Yeah, and I do think there's something to. It's felt like some of the Chiefs position coaches, they were like, let's bring some guys up and develop them and whatever. Like you have some real professionals and guys that have been in the building and are battle tested and know what the hell they're doing. Again, I'm not trying to put anybody, but you're trying to win Super Bowls here, not trying to, help position coaches get their start, there's got to be a balance of that. And like, this is a sign to me. And like the fact that they moved on from a bunch of guys, like, I don't take that lightly either. I don't, that's never an easy thing to do. And you can say it's Andy's passing the buck a little, whatever, but like, I do think there's something to it. Like they wanted to get some friggin' professionals in the building, some guys with experience that know how to coach. Some assholes. Yeah.
No. Okay. So, I mean, listen, we just ripped another 43 minutes on Chiefs offensive coaching hires. You guys think we're ready to move on? Because I know Hammy's got something he wants to get off his chest.
Yes, please. I'm excited for this.
I mean, I don't want to let you. I feel like we're hyping this up now. I don't want to let you guys down. But yeah, there's a couple things, and I want to start just overall with the Bills. The reaction to this loss from not only Bills fans, on the lowest level Bills fans, but from Sean McDermott himself, who I know was just like, oh, this morning, and the national media response to what happened. And and again, you guys know, I cover all the teams in this league. I am as objective as I can possibly be. I don't come to, and that's what I respect about you guys is you guys, and Kent always, you love the game of football and you put the game of football and the integrity of that above just being Chiefs fans and wanting to see the Chiefs do well, and we can always have honest conversations. This whole outcry after that clear interception is an affront to the game. It is insulting. It's an affront to the game of football. It is disrespectful to the game of football. It is so disingenuous. And the fact that we have national media members participating in this is disgusting to me. The Bills whining and complaining has already changed the fabric of the game, of the sport that we love, multiple times. And they have, I know, a lot of our listeners are not going to have any sympathy or care about this part of it at all for but like, they just hijacked this moment completely from the Denver Broncos too. Like, the Bo Nix injury aside, like that just got thrown totally out the window. The fact that the Broncos won this game and knocked them out and all that, because they had to make it about themselves. They had to make it about a play that was clearly ruled correctly. And the fact that we have people who are supposed to be championing the integrity of this game and giving objective thoughts, feeding into this nonsense is beyond me. And I don't get, I'm a really even killer. I was pissed off this weekend seeing that because it's disgusting for the game. And Bills fan, it's clear that a lot of people don't give a shit about the game, like with the reactions to that. And I can't take it anymore. I can't take another season of all the excuses. And we talked, I feel like there's a pocket of Bills fans and there's people that care about Josh Allen and the excuses for Josh and propping him up more than they care about accurately representing what that team is. And that's where I'll get into the second part of this, which is we've had to listen to all year, which I thought was complete bullshit, that there's no talent on the Bills. Josh has nothing. It's all him. He has to carry them. And we saw in this game, outside of the fumble, James Cook was phenomenal. James Cook was the best offensive player left in the AFC field in the playoffs. He had the best weapon at his disposal. And not even close. I thought Joe Brady called his best game of the year. How many times did he scheme somebody wide ass open? They were moving the ball up and down the field on that really good Broncos defense at will. And how many times did that defense bail Josh's ass out after one of those turnovers? And he lost them the game. And again, I'm not trying to dump on him because he took full accountability for it. He knows it, but for some reason, nobody else does. And I don't want to hear him compared to Patrick Mahomes again until he actually wins something. And that's not disrespectful to him. That's just, we have to live in reality. And we saw in that game what separates Patrick Mahomes from Josh Allen. And I think what we saw the moment, to me, Patrick ascended to another level was watching that run in 2023 and understanding what his path was going to be to winning that Super Bowl. It wasn't going to be putting everything on his shoulders and trying to be Superman and trying to make it all about him. It was learning how to manage games. And that gets thrown around pejoratively, like the game manager managing games, but that's quarterback play. That's what being a great quarterback is knowing how to do that. And that's what Josh hasn't figured out how to do yet. He lost him that game because he tried to be Superman like everybody says he was. He needs to learn how to manage games. And he hasn't shown, the fact that he's this deep into his career and hasn't shown that he can really do that consistently, and especially in big games, that's what separates him. And that's what separates the great quarterbacks from quarterbacks who are incredibly talented but don't win anything. And I'll leave it there, but I'm sick and tired of it. And again, I'm not coming to this play. I cover the Chiefs with you guys. I'm not a Chiefs fan. I cover this entire league. I try to be fair to everybody, but at some point we got to stop this. It's over.
It was asinine to watch the kid gloves that the national media played with Josh Allen this weekend. It was absolutely insane. He was objectively the worst quarterback that we saw play this weekend. Full stop. And I could have said that at the half because that fumble that he had at the half that cost them the game in the end of it is one of the worst football plays that I've ever seen. Josh runs for 20 yards in the middle of the field and goes down. Guess what? You still don't kick the field goal because you have no timeouts. Throw the damn ball away. What are you doing? Why are you trying to do that? Like you said, Hammy, he's trying to play hero ball. He's not playing within the structure of the game. He's just, I'm Josh Allen. I've got to go make this happen because that's how this offense works for me. I agree. Joe Brady called a great game. James Cook had a great game outside of that fumble. Josh Allen, full stop, lost them that game. And the fact that Sean McDermott came out after the game and had to go through how the refs blew all of this and fully, I'm going to stand up for Buffalo and then get shit canned 2 days later. I'm going to stand up for Buffalo on all of this for a very clear and obvious interception. It wasn't even close. I know people are talking about, well, they didn't review it. No, they did. New York took a look at that. It took this long to determine it because it was obvious. It was obvious. I don't get it. We had a weekend full of bad quarterback play. CJ Stroud was awful in that first half. Just absolutely awful in that first half.
Drake May, not much better.
Drake May was not much better. Josh Allen was worse. And the fact that we got to the 49ers and Seahawks halftime, this is when it really like super clicked in for me that this is what we were in for this week. It was 49ers and Seahawks halftime. They cut to it and they go, okay, here we go. We're going to talk about earlier in the day. What's the first clip they show? It's Josh Allen crying at the podium. That's what it is. It's Josh Allen crying at the podium. They haven't even addressed the fact that Bo Nix has a fractured ankle, something that measurably changes the scope of the NFL and the playoffs in a major way. No, we've got to watch Josh Allen crying at the podium. What was the next topic? Now we got to talk about the refs. Now we got to talk about this play right here. It wasn't until 3 or 4 talking points into the halftime show when they were covering this game that they went, oh, and by the way, Bo Nix has a fractured ankle and he's not playing for the rest of his life. Like, what are we doing here, man? Like, what are we doing? This is groundbreaking, earth-shattering news for the NFL in the playoffs and what's going to happen moving forward. And we got to spend 3 whole segments talking about, oh, woe is me for the Bills and did they get screwed in this game when the team that won is not going to have their starting quarterback and now has to figure this shit out. That's when I went, oh man, we're living in bizarro world right now. That's what this week is going to be. It was absolutely asinine.
It's insane. So like the catch thing, if you're anybody that's even on the fence, I don't know what you're looking at here. That's the most clear and obvious interception. And it was from the get-go. It wasn't that the review was rushed. Everybody keeps saying the review was rushed and that's the bigger issue. No, somebody in New York sat there, looked at like the 3 angles that you get and said, yeah, it's clearly an interception. Let's move on because we already pushed the start back time of another game back. Like, who wants to wait for a clear interception? Like, it was an interception. Get over it. The fact that Sean McDermott tried to stand on business and for the city of Buffalo on that was one of the most just bizarre, weird, and
cringe.
pathetic things I've ever seen, that he kept coming back to it. But, he's also no longer their coach. So that is what it is. The way Allen's been treated, and it was the next day for me where I was seeing it, NFL's Twitter account, going on NFL Network, players, media people are sitting there covering like, I feel so bad for Josh Allen. He's the Superman of this team, but, oh my God, look at Josh Allen. He gave it his all, but the blah, 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 blah. But it's just nonstop. How many ways can we say that we wanted Josh Allen to win, but he wasn't good enough, and shift the blame to anybody else within earshot? You talked about James Cook being good. We talked about Joe Brady being good. Denver has a great defense, right? They pressured Josh Allen like none. They couldn't get home. They couldn't get to him because that offensive line was kicking ass.
But yet Josh Allen, they played awesome. Yeah.
And then people have the audacity to come, oh no, Josh Allen had to throw the ball around Zach Allen's arms. That's why he missed Kincaid for the go-ahead touchdown. Sure, difficult throw. Guess what?
Yeah.
If you're Superman, you guess who makes that throw? You, right? Like if that's
MVP.
what it is, you make that throw. And like, there's plenty of people saying he should have hit it. I understand. I'm not throwing everybody under here. I'm just saying the grand scheme is there is no limit to the number of excuses that I have seen for Josh Allen post this game. And it's crazy to me that people keep firing them off. And I'm so happy that you brought this up, Hamilton, because it definitely is. Oh, it reads less as like, oh, you're Chiefs fans, you just hate the Bills, when it's like coming from somebody that's just covering the league as a whole and not a rival to them. He's like, I just feel like I'm losing my mind. I saw in the morning that somebody said they are the least talented team to ever make the divisional round of the playoffs. And I'm like,
are you kidding me?
The 49ers are in the playoffs.
Yeah.
The 49ers are playing.
They were starting Demarcus Robinson. They won a game with Demarcus Robinson as their lead wide receiver.
How many targets did Jake Tongas get? Not to throw shade at Jake Tongas, but he's not.
And then he blew his hamstring.
Do we not forget, like, also to bring it back, not to make it about the Chiefs, but Patrick Mahomes won a game in Buffalo in which they started Richie James.
They did. I'm sorry. The entire Chiefs wide receiver core for a Super Bowl run was just off. We're taking Travis Kelce. I know we move him around in that receiver, non-receiver. If you just put the guys with WR next to their name, it's Kadarius Toney, Sky Moore, MVS. Come on now. Like, we don't have to pretend here that there's just this litany of outstanding things. Big players make big plays in big moments. And it would be one thing if this is Josh's only, instance of not being able to get it done or something like that. I mean, I would understand a little bit more of a, wow, uncharacteristic game from Josh here. This sort of sentiment with all of this. Dude is 0-7 in OT games. 0-7. So when it gotta have it moments,
he got the rule change,
get it done.
So I guess he's 1-7 because he did win the rules.
And we saw what that did.
Yeah. Hasn't made a Super Bowl. Hasn't beaten the Chiefs. Hasn't,
there's another rule
in the
change
playoffs.
Coming. I don't know what the next rule change is going to be, but there's one coming, okay? I don't know what it is yet, but it's coming.
If you get your hands on the ball and you fall on your back, you don't have to complete the catch anymore. So apparently that's
Tre'Davious White throwing a hissy fit for the most clear and obvious DPI, and then national media people saying, I hate teams that are underthrown deep balls trying to fetch an offensive pass interference. Hey, guess what? Maybe Bo Nix tried his hardest, but he was on a broken ankle. Maybe he underthrew it by a couple yards when Tre'Davious White got torched because he had a broken ankle.
We can't get to that yet. That's segment 5. We haven't gotten to Bo Nix's broken ankle to explain why he may have underthrown that. But yeah.
Okay. Well, we were supposed to go to lessons learned from the divisional round, but I honestly feel like we covered. Oh, no, I do have one lesson I want to mention. This is a lesson that I learned from the divisional round, and you guys can get one off too. We've almost hit an hour already. So we don't got to go, we don't got to wrap up fast. We can go over 60 minutes. Again, Kent's not here, but we don't got to spend a long time on this. I just what I've noticed from defenses that won specifically in the divisional round. Hey, Spags, run some stunts, please. Please. Maybe try twisting some guys a little bit. Maybe have guys not just run straight forward. I think that would be helpful. Watching the defenses and how they play right now, I think it would be very helpful. When I'm sitting here watching the Houston Texans offensive line is buns. I'm going to be very clear. But I'm watching the New England Patriots, who I don't think have a great defensive line. It helps getting Milton Williams back. That's helped a lot. But I don't think they have a ton of one-on-one winners, and they're getting pressure nonstop because nobody rushes straight forward. Nobody's just trying to beat a guy one-on-one. It's constant twist, constant games, and slanting, and that's the crux of what Seattle does. Granted, they do a lot of things well, but that's the crux of their pass rush game. That's all the Rams do. Like, Jared Verse is over here getting locked up by Joe Thuney one-on-one when he's rushing one-on-one. They're getting pressure because they're twisting and stunting, right? Like, that's what all these teams are doing, and Spags is over here. I get it. Chris Jones is great, but maybe let some guys move around a little bit post-snap, because it really seems like that's where a lot of teams are having success rushing the passer right now, and the Chiefs are at the bottom of the barrel in terms of the amount that they run stunts in games, and that's just, it seems that's not the way to win right now unless you're the Houston Texans.
Yeah, and to your point on that too, like it's Kayvon Chason who's flashing for them. He's the guy, like, I remember seeing him a year and a half ago down in Dallas. He was getting a workout in, on the side of OL Masterminds, and he's got his Panthers helmet. Like he was trying to make the Panthers, which he didn't. And now he's, making huge play after huge play in a playoff game for the New England Patriots. And, it's because he's being put in great positions, and you're 100% right. The Texans, you bring up the Texans, like, just because the Texans don't have to, like, there's a lot of stuff with them where it's like, just because you don't have to doesn't mean you can't. And I know, exactly the fact that exactly, like, I'm not trying to put down D'Amico Ryans, but there are a bunch of things that between his game management and just some of that, like, just you can mix it up a little bit. I know you have all this talent and you could just line up and play and be great. You can mix some things up a little bit. It's allowed. And he's got to figure out the game management with him is going to cost them. Even when they don't get horrific quarterback play, it's going to be hard. Even if they get good quarterback play, he needs to figure out how to manage. He needs to figure out when you're supposed to go for it, when you're supposed to kick field goals, how to use your timeouts. That has held him back all year. And it didn't bite him in the ass as much as it could have in a lot of these games. But that's going to be something that team, to me, is the biggest disappointment, because I think they had a real shot to really do something here.
Yep.
And I mean, if if CJ Stroud just could have been Trent Dilfer, they probably win that game. And
I mean, if he could have been Davis Mills, they might have won that game.
I didn't want to. Yeah, I think that's what they have a real decision.
If he could have been Josh Allen, they might have won that game.
Yeah, it's
might.
Yeah, I just they have a real that's what I learned. I think they have a real decision to make here going forward, because you can't do this again. That was a waste of an opportunity given the field that was left. Given how good that defense is, I think they really squandered that, and you can't let it happen again. And to say you didn't even think about putting Davis Mills in is also like, how could you not? The guy started 4 games for it. He won every game he started for you, and it wasn't because he was phenomenal. It was because he didn't, actively blow the game for you. Yeah. And after what happened against the Steelers, it's got to be in your head, hey, if this starts happening again, we got to have a plan, and they didn't, and it's the reason they lost. So yeah, it's just, there's a lot of things I think they got to reevaluate, because I think that's a team that's capable of winning a Super Bowl, but not on the path they're on right now.
Man, they got the Monstars on defense, man.
Yeah.
Like that defense is so good. Like you look at the score line of that and you're like, oh, the Patriots were able to move the ball. The superhero catches that those wide receivers made in blanket coverage, not just the one that Moody made, but the Diggs touchdown was a hell of a grab too. Like everything had to be perfect. Yeah.
Yeah. And if you really dig into it, like there's stuff that's comparable to the 2000 Ravens, the 2002 Bucks with that defense. Like this isn't hyperbole. Like this was a defense that, you only get that label where we know those because they won Super Bowls. Mm-hmm. But this defense was close to that class of a defense. This was one of the best defenses we've seen in 25 years.
Yeah.
And to waste that opportunity is just, that makes me sick a little bit too, because
mm-hmm.
You didn't have to be great offensively. You just had to not be god awful. And they managed to be god awful in both games. And
yep.
They still have won one of them by like 4 scores. So yeah,
I know. That defense is so good that they make the Seahawks defense look not as good, and that Seahawks defense is outrageously great too.
Yeah.
Now I took 2 lessons, and the first one's going to be really quick. I'm going to tap the sign for Maddie. Linebacker play doesn't matter. It doesn't. I think that's what we learned in the playoffs here. The NFL is moving towards more of a rush-heavy attack. They are trying to run the ball a little bit more. Guess what? There are a bunch of guys that were off-the-street guys, or not the biggest names in the world, not highly drafted guys that are playing really good football at linebacker right now. The clear separation, yes, Fred Warner matters, absolutely. There's not a lot of other guys that really do at this point. So yeah, that's the first thing I took. And then the second thing, we saw it in the chat here. Lesson learned, the NFL and fans miss the Chiefs in these playoffs.
Yeah.
The offenses were bad this weekend. They were not great. And some of that's weather. Some of that is because, Seattle's defense and Houston's defense and Denver's defense are really, really good. Like, I get it. But we have now become accustomed as an overall football watching fandom, not just Chiefs, but the NFL in general. We have become accustomed to the fact that these guys are going to go out there and overcome the obstacles that are put in their way, that are going to rise to the challenge. And by and large, teams did not this weekend. Like, there was a lot of sloppy football. There was a lot of bad quarterbacking. Even the historic moment that you're going to remember about this, Caleb Williams completing a miracle 4th down, he still ran himself 30 yards backwards into that. Like, that was still of his own making there. And then they get to OT and both teams just kind of and Caleb Williams does it near. So we just didn't see guys rise to the challenge the same way that we've seen. And whether that be just the Chiefs as a part of that, certainly they bring out the best in everybody. The NFL is more fun when you've got those moments where you just got two powerhouses just throwing haymakers at each other instead of just watching sloppy football all weekend.
Yeah, a fat play. We're not even going down that rabbit hole. He need to get 5 yards, and he ran 30 yards backwards to throw a one-on-one blind Hail Mary to a tight end. Great throw.
My goodness.
Phenomenal throw.
Throw.
He turned his back when they needed 5 yards and ran back 30 to throw a blind Hail Mary. I was befuddled when he let it go, and then it fell right into the tight end's hands. It was great.
Put it right in the shirt pocket.
I mean, nobody we can get it. There's a lot to unpack with that. I will say this with him too. Like, there's a lot of room for growth, and he had and there's still so much room for that guy to grow. There's so much stuff to work on. I'm not saying that in like a negative way. Like, he had this good a season, and I think like he's not even close to as good as he can be yet.
Mm-hmm.
And I will say with some of that stuff too, you don't want any other quarterback doing it. He has a little bit of that like Steph Curry, where it's like nobody can possibly sustain this. Nobody could possibly try the things that he's trying week after week and make it work. Like the logo shots, like it's the equivalent of his logo shots, and he can do. He's one of these guys that I think that you just can do it, and it's not good quarterback play by definition, but he's capable. And there's a lot of stuff within the realm of good quarterback play that he needs to get better at. Absolutely, but he's got that ability, and I can't, I'm at this point where if that was like week 4, week 5, I'm like, wow, you got lucky. What the hell are you doing? But the fact that he does it every week, I'm like, I can't even say anything.
It's why I can't quit him. It is why I can't quit him there. I mean, I get it. I get all of that. He is what everybody said Mahomes was in the early part of Mahomes' career. He is what everybody said that he was. He's so much more up and down than Mahomes ever was. Yeah,
there's a reason why their offense is so inconsistent and goes these long stretches of games without scoring points, and that's something that needs to be addressed and improved. But all
right, sorry. And my last, that's fine. My last little quick thing was wide receivers have to be able to catch in dirty areas. Like, you're not getting open space in the playoffs anymore. There's not open space. You're not throwing the ball into open space and having guys just run. You're making contested catches. You're making catches with guys screaming downhill on you right now. Like, just watch where all these catches are coming. All of these catches are coming from all these big plays that are coming from the playoffs. It's difficult physical stuff. So, hey, good news. The Chiefs got themselves a new wide receiver coach that might be able to help guys in those situations. Do they have the players for it? We'll find out as we get to draft season, as we keep going. But that really stuck out to me, was wide receiver play is a little bit less about, hey, running guys into space right now. Your guys have to be able to deal with physicality. They have to be able to get themselves open a little bit more, but it's still going to be tight spaces. And then, you kind of got to make it work from there. But all right, real quick into on the clock. If Tucker has music and wants to hit it, we can run some music, but we're going to get our nice little draft segment here. We do a little stock up, stock down. Mine's going to be really quick once we get into this one right now. I'm watching the national championship game while we record this. Ruben Bain's been phenomenal. Akeem Mesidor might be just as good. Those two are making Indiana run the fakest, most clown shit offense I have ever seen. It is RPO after RPO after. They legitimately are not running a real offense in this game. I would be terrified to have to draft a quarterback to play quarterback watching Indiana's offense this game. They're winning. But it's been crazy. This isn't Indiana all the time. That's why I think the stock up goes to those Miami defensive ends. They are making Indiana, a team who has outcoached everybody this year, terrified to run their offense. That speaks, and they're still making plays. So Miami defensive ends, stock up while we are actively watching the show, because Indiana's offense looks so gross, so gimmicky. It looks terrible right now. That's all I had. I don't know if you guys had any stock up draft kits.
Hammy, you got one?
I unfortunately am not in. I start my draft process.
No, you were good.
Will end, so yeah.
Kent really sets this all up, so I guess I'm just over here fired.
Yeah. I'm just gonna say, if I am Team Ruben Bain at 9 for the Chiefs, completely on board with that. Never wavered at one iota with that, and his playoffs have shown me everything that I need to know at this point. But if the Chiefs want to go offensive playmaker, like if we want to go Jeremiah Love, Akeem Mesidor, if that is within the realm of possibility, I might be doing like super backflips over that kind of setup.
He's my
there.
age, but yeah.
Oh, I don't care, man. I need him for one contract, baby. That's all I gotta have. So yeah, I would be absolutely on board with adding Mesidor to this equation here.
No, absolutely. I'm with you. He's like the defensive end version of Braden Fisk, but better when the Rams took him a couple years ago. Like, he's just a phenomenal mid-20s-year-old
Byron Murphy
player that's going to... Yeah. Oh, Byron Young. Murphy, I think.
Byron Young, sorry.
Young.
Young.
All the Rams.
Thank you.
All right. I think that's going to do it. That's going to do it for the KCS and Laboratory on this wonderful Matter Day. I think we covered a lot. We got a lot of things done. I appreciate you two gentlemen jumping on here with me. I appreciate all of you guys listening. We will be back Wednesday with another KCS and Lab. Well, maybe we'll have more coaching news to talk about. I don't know what the Chiefs are doing at the running back spot yet, but we will see where that takes us. I appreciate it, gentlemen. Thank you for being here, and we will catch you guys later in the week. Come on, Miami.